So you don't know what you're doing either.
I have no idea.
Guess what? Same here, man.
Let's test that theory.
You gotta do what it takes to survive.
All right, so hello and welcome everyone. My name is Michael Jobity and I'll be hosting this live stream today, as well as the award ceremony on the 25th to 26th of November. Welcome to the 4th edition of the Mirrorband UK Film Awards, powered by the Mirrorband Company and founded by our festival director, Jay Manari. The Mirrorband UK Film Awards, or MUFA, is a British, London-based, IMDb qualifying film festival focused on diversity in Auteur movies. As a member of Film Hub London and BFI fan, MUFA provides a spotlight for underrepresented, emerging, and experienced independent filmmakers through weekly live stream Q&A sessions, as well as with its in-person career expo and networking opportunities, and an exciting festival event taking place on the 25th to 26th of November at the Bromley Picture House Cinema. If you haven't done so yet, please check out our festival tickets and VIP pass for the event, and subscribe to our new streaming platform, which is live, Stream Auteur, to watch all the officially selected candidates of this edition and vote for your favorite, which will win the Best Film Audience Award. When going to mirrorbandukfilmawards.co.uk, you can select Art House Cinema on the top banner and then click subscribe. Let's get the ball rolling with our special guest. Please welcome John Parr from UK, a finalist for Best Documentary with their film, Unconquered. We also have our esteemed documentary juror, Thomas Deshays, with us today. Unconquered tells the story of two elite soldiers who were severely injured, both mentally and physically, in the line of duty. We follow their incredible journey out of the darkness through the love of family, the bond of brotherhood, and their shared passion, sport. Let's take a look.
When tragedy strikes and nightmares begin, when all hope is lost to the demons within, in the eye of the storm and the challenge of men, can you find the strength to do battle again? Through the love of a child and the courage of men, with the strength of my brother, we will rise again.
Amazing. Thank you so much, John, for being on the call today. Super excited to hear about, of course, the pleasure is ours, for your amazing film that you've created. And there's just so many moving parts in the film and so many messages, lovely messages that, I think the world needs right now. I guess my first question would be, when you look at these themes of, love, brotherhood, shared passion, were these themes something that were very prevalent within your life and kind of were always something that you tried to aspire to, include in your life, and then you try to, kind of implement this into your story, or is it something that kind of evolved over time? How did you come to these, these themes and these messages that you wanted to convey in your film?
I was blessed. I was raised in a very loving family.
I was always kind of cursed with ambition to do something with my life. But I certainly found kind of midway through my life that putting something back and doing a bit of good was more rewarding than everything else. And so I would say the last 30, 35 years have been entirely about just trying to make a difference. My old mum used to say, wouldn't it be nice for everybody if it was nice for everybody? And it's a simple Yorkshire phrase, but it's so true. And I know Denzel Washington apparently says it's being selfish because the reward is so great by giving. And I just echo that and say that, you know, certainly Unconquered, it so far it's been the challenge of my life and probably one of the most rewarding.
That's amazing. I love the phrase, you know, triumph over, you know, adversity. I think that's something that sticks and people can resonate with. But I'll hand the ball over to Thomas if you have any questions for John.
No, you know what, John? At first, I have to confess something. When I saw it, I was like, "Oh my God, a hero type of things that it's not that I don't like it, but usually this is some things that I'm a little bit, not a fan." And finally, you gave your best indeed in this production. So I wonder how the thing finally, how was it possible to make it something entertaining like this, and on the other hand, have this bottom line which is very strong and deep.
Yes, I'm very, very big on entertainment. I really believe that if you can entertain somebody, you can engage them, and then you can kind of get the message across. I had a song a few years ago called St. Elmo's Fire, and it was a big global record for a movie. But secretly, the song was about a boy in a wheelchair trying to go around the world in a wheelchair, nothing to do with the movie. And I knew if that would have been the headline of the song, people would have been, you know, particularly in '85, not very open to it. So it's something they discover once they've learned to love the song, and it's still very active on the radio now. And people get something from it, not knowing really it's the power of the power I felt of this young disabled boy doing the impossible. And so I think with Unconquered, yes, I think if there is, you know, like you say, a criticism to level at it, I just can't help the hero, the arc of the hero, the happy ending, you know, the moral story. But by the same token, well, you've got to remember with my two soldiers, they're still damaged. You know, that film looks like it's over a year, and we made it over, you know, over a few weeks. But actually, it's a kind of a lie, because it took 20 years for them since the accident to be where they are now. So those accidents happened nearly 20 years ago, and they're still struggling. Although one looks able-bodied and the other one is still in a chair, they still back it. And strangely, I did a podcast with them last week, the very first time we've spoken on anything like that since we filmed. And these are really tough, battle-hardened men that kind of folded their arms and looked at me sideways, you know, this rock and roller wanting to make their story. And just to see how they both opened up from the isolation of mental illness, if you like. You know, these guys, their only way out is to kind of cage their mind and really not let people see the damage. And I saw how much they'd both come out of that. And so I thought, well, yeah, you know, yeah, they come out of it as heroes, but it is still an ongoing story.
That's awesome.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm actually, impressed by, it was definitely a gladiator movie, but with a greater cause than, conquering Rome or something like that. I really enjoyed the fact that the team was so, driven by people who actually experienced that situation. If you actually want to share it more in detail with the audience, because we know, because we obviously received communication with you, and we are aware, but it's really impressive to mention that most of your team was basically in the same situation than your main character. So it'd be great to hear it from you directly.
It was a complete accident, absolute accident. It was not by design. Originally, when I decided to make the film, I was just going to put a little bit of money up and use a video company to make a little documentary. COVID came and went. The video company went bust. The people that said they were going to give a bit of money went. So it was just me. And I rang a couple of old friends that I'd worked with maybe 30, 40 years ago. They had a video company, film company. They'd retired. And they became my mentors and said, maybe you should try him, he'll help. I'd forgotten that my friend had one leg in the video company because you don't notice he's got one leg, and he ran, he's been all over the world making films, and not always easy with one, with a prosthetic limb. I brought in a couple of guys not knowing that they had mental issues. One had very severe Asperger's, and I didn't know. And then the other boy, he had a thing, he had ADHD. He'd been suicidal, tried to kill himself 2 months earlier. And he joined a club in England called Andy's Man Club, which tries to save men of a certain age from killing themselves. And he's gone on to be a mentor in that. He worked on the film. He had a thing called cluster headaches, which they're so violent, you have to have injections to stop the pain. So on set, he'd have to have injections twice a day. At the end of the film, we found somebody to cure it, and they cured him. He's now living a normal life, but for 20 years, he was suicidal. And my other friend, he was dialogue coach. He's got spina bifida. He broke through spina bifida and became the gold medalist in the Paralympics in the sabre, in the wheelchair, but nonetheless it made us great success. And then my other friend was really the inspiration for us all and would give us military advice. And he was a pilot that went through 2 tours of duty, and he was able-bodied and then had a freak accident, and he snapped his neck in a swimming accident and became quadriplegic, so he can only move his head. And he's a dear friend of ours. He was the guy, if you remember when the Lancaster bomber flew down the Mall and dropped 1 million poppies for the Queen's Jubilee. He was in controls of that Lancaster, and that was about 5 years before his accident. So I was surrounded by these incredibly inspirational men and women, and that they brought just great authenticity and passion and understanding, because to try and take these men back to their darkest moments, I could have brought actors, but I knew I needed to have them play themselves. And it was a huge risk, because you can imagine trying to get a performance out of them. They're squaddies, they're army men. So that's one thing. But then to say, well, can we go back to when you were thinking of committing suicide? Or can we go back to when 2 of your friends died in the accident? It's a very, very sensitive thing.
Definitely.
I just have a quick question for John. How was the practice of music help you in the process of the editing and even maybe even before or after?
I found it easy. I mean, this is the first film I've directed, but every time I write a song, I always see the film with the song in my head. So when I wrote the script to Unconquered, it was not so different. I saw it all, I saw the colours. So when I wrote the script, the art direction was as you see it on screen. I sat in on every frame of the edit, and it was more or less as it was written. And it has beats, like you say, with music, and I'm very aware you're trying to write a hit record and engage an audience. You've got to get there within a minute. With a script, you've got to be there in the first 10 pages. And so we had to think of that. The music in the film was the hardest thing, because midway through, because this was military, the military said to me, we need to see a rough cut of where you are, just to make sure you're honouring the military and not disrespecting these boys. So I made a trailer, but I used all the greatest composers. So I used Hans Zimmer, I used James Horner, and of course they loved it. But then I realised at the end, crikey, I've got to write music that does that job without any money, without the orchestras, so I literally had to, once I'd done the film, had to write the music completely from scratch and try and not disappoint the military. They're going to say, hey man, what happened to the music? It was so great. So that was the biggest challenge for me, was actually coming up with the score. Fortunately, the main theme, which starts with the pipe, with William pipes, and keeps reoccurring, that comes all the way through. So that was a big, it was all of this was a gift from God or a gift from the universe, whichever you choose to believe. I don't take any responsibility. I just went, help me, and it came into it.
Perfect.
Wow, I mean, that whole, I didn't realize when you're mentioning creating the music after, I mean, that itself, I mean, I know, you shared that, but I can only imagine how much work that was. I mean, congratulations. That just seems like a massive feat. And, to be able to create what you've created and balance, directing with the music. I mean, it uses so many different parts of your brain, and to be able to put that into one, cohesive unit and actually have that as a product that people can watch is, very, very impressive. So, congrats.
There's hope for us all, because I'm 70, so you've got no excuses.
Awesome. And it looks like you have a great studio too, so I'm sure that might.
It's a music studio, and obviously for the last year it's been mainly a film editing room, and Foley. I had to do the Foley. I mean, I'd never done Foley in my life, and I thought, wow. So all those sounds, banging things, kicking things, man, it was like, and I wasn't used to the synchronization, so it was all Keith Robinson and making it fit, it wasn't time code,
But it sounds like you enjoyed the process.
It was the experience of my life. I wouldn't have missed it for the world, but it was heaven and hell in equal measure.
Those are one of the best things that are created, right? So congrats again. And I think we're towards the end of the live stream, but I just want to give a big thanks to yourself, John, for sharing insights into the whole process of building what you've created, and liaising with the people you had on set, and the thinking and the motives behind the themes and the storyline that you wanted to create for the world. So congratulations again on such an amazing film, Unconquered. And with that, I'd like to just give some very quick updates for the listeners for the next set of live streams. So just a quick reminder, all shortlisted candidates will be available on our streaming platform until the 3rd of December. And you can vote for your favorite to win the Best Film Audience Award. You go to the MUFA website, click on Films and Streaming, and subscribe to our newly launched platform, streamauteur.com. Just a quick reminder as well, there is a live event. The award ceremony will be taking place at the Bromley Picture House Cinema from the 25th to 26th of November. And you can get your tickets at mirrorbanukfilmawards.co.uk. Thank you again, John, Jay, and Thomas, for all coming on today. Really appreciate it.
Thank you. It's been such a pleasure. Thank you for taking interest in it. Thank you so much.
Same here. And see you at the festival.